So our next speaker is a social media expert, but she takes it to a whole new different level. And I was really enlightened by what she had to say as far as it's within us. And you're going to love her acronym for visible. So check it out.
Building spirituality, family, health, and business. This is the Giant Builders with Lois Wyant.
Hey, Giant Builders. Guess what? It's time for us to talk. And today we have Angelique Bonnet, and she is a social media specialist, and her business is called Social Media Love. So how are you today?
I am super happy because we finally get to meet. You and I, we've been in touch for so long, so I'm excited.
Oh, great. Me too.
Thank you for your patience with me.
Oh, well, thank you for your patience with me too. I really appreciate it. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so I'm talking to you from Canada, but I'm originally from France. So why am I sharing this is because my accent, if you're wondering, what is she saying? Like, make me repeat, okay, Alois, because
Okay.
I have my ways of saying things, and I'm not taking any offense on that.
Okay.
So yes, so I kind of started my I call, the world of social media is the world of visibility, how to become visible. And interestingly enough, when you get older, you're like, how did I end up here? And then for me, everything started in France, where I was born, and I became a journalist over there. And then when I moved to Canada, I got the privilege to work on television. So I was kind of a reporter doing the camera work, the editing work, and also the speaking work in front of the lens. And this is when, becoming visible is really hitting you, when you know that every day at 6 p.m. for the news, you got to be there. No matter you have your period, you don't feel like it or whatever, you're there, right? So that was back then, at the beginning of Facebook. And at the time, I was not really on social media. That was not in my radar. The news outlets were not on social media either. Maybe Twitter was there. I don't know. But so that was kind of my career for 10 years, where I got a chance to interview a lot of people from the political world, economic world, artists, activists. And then what really stuck with me was the women I interviewed. And then, so some of them were like, don't even look at me. I don't want to talk to the media. Or they were like, give me the mic. I have a message. And I was always like, wow, when you're behind the camera and you experience from very close, when you do your settings, like you really go close to the person and you see kind of through her eyes or soul. And some people were so comfortable and some were not comfortable, but they still wanted to do it. So I learned a lot by interviewing others, especially women. And I was a narrative. And at some point I said, I'm done with sharing the news and other people's stories as part of the news, because as a reporter, you have to be, you have to listen to all sides of the story and bring the information that is required for the audience to make their own decision. That's how I see being a reporter. Like, I know some news outlets are very like black and white and that's it. This is not how I approach journalism. But for me, that was too much restriction, because I wanted to say, I believe this and I believe that, right? So this is when I started to have my own business. And at the beginning, it was completely not social media. I was in the food industry because I had a lot of food intolerances. And I had to learn from coming from France, where we eat a lot, and we, the French cuisine and everything has gluten, everything has dairy, everything has all the things I couldn't eat. So I had to relearn to do good French cuisine with the French traditional ingredients. And I had fun doing it. And then I started to teach others that it was fun to be celiac. I'm joking. Like, it's not a joke, but it's, it's fun to have no wheat, to have no dairies, to have no nuts. It can still taste good. So I did that on the side of another job, but it grew and grew. And then at some point I'm like, okay, I want to do that as a business. And then I started to apply for fundings. And when you apply for fundings, there is a section about marketing. How are you going to promote your services on social media? And I'm like, oh, another thing to learn. And then, so this is how it started. So I said, it's either I take another online course. It was the beginning of the blooming of that industry, or I go back to university. So I was kind of browsing all the options until an ex-colleague of mine, she said, oh, Angelique, there is a job opening in this public organization. They're looking for a social media strategist. I'm like, I don't know anything about social media. And you want me to apply for a job? And she said, well, everything else you've done in your life is so applicable. You can learn on the spot. And at the time I was working with Brendan Burchard. I don't know if you know Brendan Burchard in the world of personal development. And we were working on how to influence others. So I applied by the letter, and they hired me as the social media strategist, not knowing anything about social media, and they knew, like, I was very transparent. But they believed in me. And not only that, I fell in love with social media at that time. So that was back 2011, 2012, maybe. And I'm still working part-time for this organization as their paid media strategist. So now I help run, $1 million advertising campaigns, and I work with large agencies. So I never quit social media. And then my friends started to see that I was doing that, and they were entrepreneurs. And said, like, could you help me with my social media? I started to help, and I'm like, my God, that's really fun to hear those women's stories. And like kind of cheer on them, like, so that they become visible online, they make money because they're visible online, and they achieve their dreams. So I said, maybe that could be my other business. So I stopped doing the cooking stuff. My family is not really happy about that because we don't eat as well as before, where I was spending my time in the kitchen. But we cook online now. We do beautiful, sales funnels, storytelling. So I coach women entrepreneurs now to build their visibility online. And I say, one post, one video, one belief at a time. Because what I've learned is that becoming visible online is first becoming visible to yourself, because all the limitations that we are not really aware of until the day you have to put the camera in front of you and do your first Facebook Live or LinkedIn Live, like, why me, the expert in this, don't feel like talking about what I usually love to talk about online, right? So that's kind of my story and how social media love came to life.
Okay. Well, that is quite an adventure that you've had.
Yeah.
So what is something that, especially, let's say especially women, what is something that we can do to build up our confidence to present our face and our life online?
Yeah, I love this question because the number one thing is that if you're in a phase with your business, whether you start or you're new at social media, you've been trying for years, but you still think that it doesn't really work for you, it probably has nothing to do with your strategy or your tactic. So don't get me wrong, you need a strategy. Posting to post is not worth your time. But most of the time we're like, okay, I need another strategy. So you hire a new guru. I call him guru, like coach on marketing. And don't get me wrong, I did exactly the same. Okay. And then you learn a new way of doing this and a new way of doing that. And in the middle of this, you hear that the algorithm has changed. So you're blah, 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 blah. And then you put your energy in this, and there is nothing wrong. You don't know what you don't know. Until the day you realize, I've tried everything and it's still not working for me. And so what I've discovered for myself after investing thousands of dollars in amazing business coaches, to the point that I even went to one of the group where I knew that there were millionaires, women entrepreneurs. I'm like, okay, if I can get in, I want to hear, like, what do they do? And then I realized that we worked on the mind and the body, the mindset. And those women who were close to the 7 figures or beyond the 7 figures, they had the same barriers than me, but I was not aware of it, that it was that. But from their perspective, they were tackling it like it was about, how do you develop your mindset? Like, don't get me wrong, the strategy is key. But if it doesn't come with your mind and body, and bringing safety in your body is one thing, changing the way you think about yourself. And this goes back to how you grew up, the experience you had in the past, how you built your belief system and how to reprogram it. And there is an art to this, to the point that I'm like, okay, so it's not something magical that you have to find like a weird tablet that you have to eat and then your business is going to work online. It's really the work of you first. And how we say words, right? Right now we're talking, I look at you, but there is an energy that comes out of our conversation. And this is not tangible. I'm not going to say, oh, I see around your face there is a halo. I'm not that type of person, okay? Maybe some of you go to see that. It's not what I mean. But that energy of confidence is something you build from the inside. It doesn't show up that day because you've been living through a certain system of thinking for the last decades. Like if you, like, I know I'm almost 50 and my clients are 50, 60, and they're like, enough of this. I'm really going for my dream right now. I'm going to make it work. Give me the strategy. I'm like, we're not going to start with this. We're going to start with, how do you see yourself? And then most of the women I work with, including myself, the lack of trust and self-confidence comes from a lack of worth, that you're not good enough. And I'm talking like the women I work for, they used to be in the corporate world. They were VPs, senior officials, and they kicked ass. But then when it comes to you and bringing your baby to the world and say, hey guys, I can help you change your life, whether it's personal or professional, this is very freaking scary for your body and your nervous system. It's like your mind's going to do everything to discourage you from showing up. So until you understand that and how it works and what are the tools to help you go through this and work with this, then this is where you get stuck. And it's not about the strategy, because the strategy, it's like the top layer. The deeper layer is really key to becoming who you want to become as a visible woman. And when I use visible, Lois, is an acronym. It's how to use your voice. The I is for ideas, your stories. That's a big deal, to bring your story to the table so that people can identify to you. And you don't want to give all the story because you don't want to be all naked online and share everything. It's not about that. It's about how can you say enough that people understand that you are like them. You went through this and you found a way, and you're offering the other people to guide them through that path as it could work for them too, right? So it's how do you use your stories and then your irresistible offers, the fear of selling. The fear of saying, hey, I'm inviting you to work with me, and the investment is this. Are you in? Right? After nurturing, of course, a relationship. And then also, how do you bring your belief? What do you stand for? What is your business about in the movement? Because we all have businesses and they belong to a movement of some kind. What is your movement? And being proud and excited to be part of that movement so that you give like the depth, the layer of depth of your business. So for me, my movement is really women empowerment. So you have so many ways of doing that. But so I would encourage you to figure out, what movement do I belong? What is the one movement I want to elevate because of what I do every day with my beautiful clients? So that's empowering. You're like, okay, I'm not just doing that for the money or my little dream. It's like it's impacting people I help, plus the collective ascension of what we believe in, no matter what you believe, right? And then also the L and the E is how to use your leadership to run a business online and promote it online, and also your expertise. Because we're very good at expertise as women. We come usually from that angle. We know how to do a certain thing, and then we are ready to share and teach and coach. It's the other pieces like to put in place that requires so much safety in terms of how do I feel aligned enough that I can sell online. But selling for me is inviting people to do a journey with you and get the transformation thereafter. Does that answer your question?
Oh, wow. Does that answer my question? Here, I thought we were going to talk about Facebook and social media, and you just took it to a whole new dimension. I'm like, holy smokes. There is so much here.
Yeah. And people come to me for Facebook and LinkedIn, but they realize fast enough that it won't work until they're ready for it.
Mm-hmm.
So this is why I literally took it's going to be so it was going to be maybe a year and a half ago now. I took a training called Mind Magic by Tracy Litt, who is my coach. But it was that deep that I knew I needed to serve my clients who wanted social media visibility with a specific framework that I use now for them, that I use for me, so that they're fully equipped when the strategy comes in, and then when it's time to post, when it's time to write your sales page, when it's time to do the funnel, the lead magnets. Like, why do we do all of this? And that makes us super visible when you start doing this. And please grab my free stuff, buy my stuff. Like, it's not how you say it, but basically that's what you do. Like, you nourish relationship, and then you invite people. So if you're not ready in your mind, and you keep seeing money like dirty, you keep seeing that you're not allowed to ask people for money. Like, the money story is a big deal in the mind work in terms of selling online, but also, do I know enough? What do my peer gonna think about me when I show up online? That's a biggie as well, big time. And what if I don't know what to say? And like so many things stops amazing women who are ready to help more people. So this is why now it's a mandatory that we do that framework that is called Mind Magic first. And then we go to the strategy. And then next time your mind says, no, we can go live today. Oh, I feel too tired. We know where we go. We go directly to the toolkit. This is how we do it. This is how we do it. And then we know. And it changed everything for my clients. For me, it's easier. I don't have to, sometimes you feel that you have to drag your clients to keep going. Not anymore, because they know where this resistance is coming from, and they know how to work with it.
So what's a little tip to like tweak our mindset to make us, I probably, correct me if I'm wrong, but I would probably say the most fearful one is probably going live online.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So
yeah.
What's a little tweak to get us to do that?
Yeah. So for me, even before I knew how to learn to master my mind and my body, the thing that helped me and still help me, and now even more, is that I want you to remember, you close your eyes and remember the last maybe comments, or someone phoned you, or you met them at the grocery store and they told you and share with you, wow, you helped me so much today. Like, I was about to close my business and now I have another vision. Like I'm back again. I'm like, oh, I was about to divorce, and then I'm like, oh my God, you got that. Like, you said something you didn't even know you said it, but someone picked on it and you changed their trajectory. We all have that. Don't tell me you don't. Even if you don't have a business yet, but you're already probably sharing your wisdom one way or another. That's why people keep coming to you. Okay, what is the thing you said? And someone came to you like, oh my God. So next time you go for a live, you close your eyes and you remember that. And at the end of the day, we're not allowed to keep our wisdom for ourselves, because it's not about you when you decide to show up online. It's to help others. So if you can help one person a day by showing up, whether it's live or a post, you've done your job. That's it. So connecting to those people who came to you or give you some feedback, and like, you really changed, like you didn't say much according to you, because it's your thing. You know, as expert, we're like, it's not a biggie. I'm always saying the same thing. It's this, it's this, that. But for people who are not in your world, it's like they're drinking what you're giving them, right? I always give the image of a mama bird and the little birds in the nest, and they open their beak and then she feeds them like that. That's what we are to our audience. So if at least one person can change their mind about something in the next 24 hours, wow, you might even not know it. That's the thing. More people than you think are watching. Each time you hear yourself say nobody's engaging, well, watch out, they're watching.
Okay. All right. So, all right, what I see is a mind blocker, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I see that, especially online, people, you'll get like 220 great comments, and then one little person says something not so nice. How do we revamp ourselves from that one person?
Yeah. Okay. So, the thing is, and that's kind of one of the principle of, once you decide to become a leader publicly, you're going to attract people and you're going to repel others. That's the nature of, you know, some people like you, some people don't like you, and it's okay, because you don't need to be loved by everybody. And especially if you're an entrepreneur, you want to serve people who get you, who share kind of some of your values, so that it's fun. So someone who's getting mean at you online, so it's actually a beautiful example to see how much you know your worth. So it's, first, it has nothing to do, that person is going through their own journey and they're reacting like this because they need to hurt you so that they can hurt themselves even more for whatever reason, their journey they're on, right? So it's, what others think about you is none of your business, number one. Because what you're doing from a place of love. You have a mission, you have an impact, and if some people are not happy with it, some gonna make the time to let you know that. And I'm always impressed. I'm like, what? You don't have anything else to do? But that's okay. Or even sometimes we call them the haters. It's interesting to say, well, I saw your message, and actually, you know, you didn't even like. I wish you luck. And if at any time you change your mind and want to discuss more about this, like, reach out to me in the DMs. But please, like, show up for yourself and come talk to me. So as soon as, you know, for me, there is some boundaries that are very clear in my life, online and offline. You are racist, you are all the things like that, like sexualist, whatever, those ist words, you're done. I block you, I report you. There is no room for this. It's a good there is that too. What is your boundary? What are you tolerating? It's like your friends, the community you build online is, you know, who do you allow in your kingdom, right? The same with our families and friends. Who do you allow to hang out every day if they're putting you down all day long, talking to you about how this bad you are and you don't do that? You know, you don't want to hang out with people like that. You want to hang out with people who support you, call you out when you need to be called out, but they make you grow. And I find for a community online, it's kind of the same. Like, what are your boundaries? So sometimes you see that maybe there's an opportunity to open a dialogue with that person. Maybe not. But it's all about knowing that what they're going through has nothing to do with you, and you are here for the right reason. You know why you're here.
Oh, that's great. I really liked that. That was wonderful.
Okay, that helps. Okay,
Yeah.
good. Yeah. And I know it's sometimes we take it so personally. We're like, and then it comes and block your brow. Oh my God. And then, okay, so deep breathing first before you think anything. Just deep breathe, like, and then think about, okay, is it past my boundaries? Or if it's not, then, you know, first, it doesn't mean anything about you. Do you want to open the dialogue or not? or are you done with that person?
Oh,
Yeah.
great. So tell me, I think you have something that we can get for information on your website. Is that correct?
Yes. So if you go on the link that I gave you, Social Media Love AB. So there is AB at the end because it's Angélique Binet. And that's when I didn't know what I was doing. And I could change it, but I've never changed it. So it's a little complication. So the name of my business plus the letter of my name, AB, Angélique Binet. Okay. So socialmedialoveab.com.
I'll make sure the link's below.
Yes. And then here I try to put in one place free resources that I give to my clients that you can kind of have a look at. And that's going to bring you to my email list so that every Monday, actually, there is a Monday Love email that I send. So it could be around mindset or a thing that is a very tactical or whatever. And then you'll have also a look at the programs that I have 2 signature programs. One is 1 year and one is 6 months. And you can read about that. And if you feel appealed, good. You also see my podcast. I have a podcast where I'm going to interview you.
Oh,
called the real story behind our business. And so this is a kind of beautiful moment where we share, the ups and downs and how we, as women, how did we come to build a business? Most of the time, the stories behind the business is so like, I didn't know I would build a business, or you never like the stories. So that's what you're gonna discover once you hit that link.
I love the Monday love. I mean,
yes,
all the days of the
Monday
week. That's
love.
the day we need extra love. So
yes. Yeah.
So, well, any closing thoughts?
Well, if you've been, I always say that, if you've been, contemplating the idea of having a larger impact, maybe you have a network and then you want to go beyond that network. Social media or anything online is going to help you go beyond. And I always say, consider your social media platforms like your resume, like your portfolio. You showcase your brand through your posts, through your videos. So even if you're so scared to sell online, even before selling, you're selling by just showing up. Because next time you go to a networking event and someone meets you, it's like, oh, I love what you do. I'm going to check you out online. That's what people do. They see you in person. They go and check you out. And then if there is content, consistency, deep conviction, and belief in what you do, they're like, I want to hang out with that girl. And I want to learn more. So they're going to come to your next webinar and then feel your vibes even more and then potentially work with you.
Oh, great.
That would be my thing. Patience, consistency, believe.
Oh, that's a great ending. Patience, consistency, and believe. I like that. I'm going to make a little sign that says that.
Oh, I love this. I should put that on a cup, like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, cup. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good idea.
Oh, Angélique, I have just enjoyed your insight, the direction you went. Like I said, I thought we were going to talk about Facebook, and you went a whole new dimension for me. So I really
well, it's still about Facebook and Instagram, but it's what's going to help you thrive and not get drained and exhausted. I find when you know where you're coming from and you're very deeply anchored to that, then the algorithm can change as many times as they want. It won't change you sharing your voice.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Giant Builders, make sure you get her free information and check her out. This is great information. So
thank you so much for your time.
Yeah.
And I love the name Giant Builders because it gives that.
Yeah.
I love this. I love this.
So, all right, Giant Builders, we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Thank you for listening. This has been The Giant Builders with Lois Wyant.